More and more people are asking which Caribbean islands are the safest to visit. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of where is safe and where is not with this video. Jamaica's tourist brochure image depicts idyllic days spent at the beach, but bad press coverage has colored the perception of the Caribbean for years. In fact, more and more people are asking which Caribbean islands are the safest. So I've done the research to help answer some of these commonly asked questions. Welcome back to Elite Jamaica, the place you come to learn about Jamaica and Jamaicans. If it's your first time joining me here, consider subscribing to the channel by clicking that red subscribe button. And do remember to turn on notifications by clicking that bell icon so you never miss any of my updates. So, does the Caribbean have a high crime rate? While the Caribbean is generally a very safe destination, high-profile incidents can quickly leave travelers worrying. According to research though, the fear of crime in the Caribbean is generally overblown. Statistics show that violent crime rarely touches the 28 million or so tourists who visit the Caribbean every year, and reports of violence are mainly confined to inner-city areas which see few tourists. Like many vacation destinations, petty street crime does occur, and valuables left unattended at beaches, in rental cars, or in hotel rooms are vulnerable to theft. To avoid becoming the victim of crime, the US Department of State recommends taking common sense precautions whilst on vacation in the Caribbean. These include traveling in large groups, staying in well-lit tourist-friendly areas, and not traveling with large amounts of cash or flashy jewelry. So should you worry about hurricanes? You'd have to have your head in the sand if you didn't hear about the recent hurricanes that affected the Caribbean. And it's no secret that the region is prone to rain and storms, but that doesn't make it unsafe to visit. Bad weather in the Caribbean is typically confined to hurricane season, which lasts from June to November, but the risk of storms generally peaks in an even smaller window, roughly from August through October. Statistically speaking, even if you travel at this time of year, the odds are excellent that you'll enjoy a hurricane-free vacation. But of course, it pays to take precautions and be aware that there are some risks. Don't want to chance it? Then consider booking your vacation outside of hurricane season. If you're happy to travel during hurricane season though, then you'll make excellent savings on flights and accommodation compared with peak periods. Just make sure you make a comprehensive travel insurance policy to cover you if the weather prevents you from traveling. Also check out the hurricane forecast before traveling. Are there any health risks in the Caribbean? Wherever you go in the world, there's always the risk of getting sick while you're abroad. Fortunately, few people experience serious health problems when traveling to the Caribbean. The US Center for Disease Control and Prevention recommends being up to date on all routine vaccinations before embarking on a Caribbean vacation. It's also recommended that you seek advice from your doctor at least 8 weeks before you're due to travel in case you need any new vaccinations. If you do get sick when you're away, don't panic. The healthcare facilities in the Caribbean destinations offer vacation homes that are in excellent condition. But to be on the safe side though, double check that your travel insurance includes a good level of health cover. Now for the burning question. Which Caribbean islands are the safest? There's no safest Caribbean island, but research shows that some destinations do have higher crime rates than others. Of course, it's always a good idea to look for updated government-issued advisories before booking a vacation, and to follow standard safety precautions when in unfamiliar surroundings, especially at night. There are other things to consider too, like whether your resort is gated, whether the beaches are child-friendly, and what kinds of activities are there to offer. For instance, St. Lucia has a low rate of crime, but if you're planning on hiking through the forest and climbing the pythons, it may be better to leave the kids at home. The safest Caribbean islands for families tend to be those that have the best beaches, the calmest seas, and the most child-friendly activities and amenities. So, what are the safest Caribbean islands for families? Number 9. The Dominican Republic. Located on the island of Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic is one of the most geographically diverse islands in the Caribbean. It has beautiful beaches, soaring mountains, and a fascinating Spanish architecture to discover. The capital city is home to gorgeously restored monasteries and quaint cobblestone streets. Spanish landmarks like Cathedral of Santa Maria la Menor in the colonial zone. This is the oldest cathedral in the Americas, begun in 1512 and completed in 154. The island also has powder white beaches. Some are backed by palm trees, while others are lined with rocky cliffs, windswept dunes, and pretty mangrove lagoons. Accommodation-wise, the best advice for tourists is to stay in a gated tourist resort. One of the busiest and best is the amazing Casa de Campo Resort, a tropical playground of beaches, sports facilities, and exotic gardens. It's one of the most luxurious resorts in the entire Caribbean. The resort boasts 3 golf courses, 7 restaurants, a marina, an equestrian center, a shooting course, and 3 private sand beaches. According to the U.S. Department of State, though, visitors to the Dominican Republic should exercise increased caution due to a rise in crime. Use a hotel safe whenever possible and take particular care in remote areas, especially at night. Number 8. Turks and Caicos. This British overseas territory is comprised of 40 islands and keys, only a handful of which are inhabited by the 30,000 or so residents. This number is a stark contrast to the half a million tourists who arrive by plane each year and the 650,000 cruise ship tourists who visit the Grand Turk cruise port annually. It should come as no surprise, then, that protecting the tourist industry is a major government priority. The Turks and Caicos are very popular with families due to their soft sandy beaches, gentle seas, and warm year-round temperatures. The region's rainfall level is low compared to some of its counterparts, and hurricanes are few and far between. The main island, Providenciales, is home to the 12-mile-long Grace Bay Beach, which tops polls as one of the best beaches in the Caribbean. Provo also has great shops and restaurants, plus a good selection of family-friendly resorts to choose from. The U.S. Department of State reports that visitors should exercise increased caution when visiting the islands due to crime. In general, you should avoid walking alone at night and be sure not to leave your valuables unattended. Number 7. Antigua. Increasingly popular for family vacations, this Eastern Caribbean island offers thrilling zipline tours, exciting island safaris, and 365 gorgeous beaches. That's one for every day of the year. It also has a new airport and some fantastic family-friendly resorts. The Rainforest Zipline Tour will have you flying along the island's highest trees. You can even stop off and enjoy a drink in the treetop bar. There's also a children's museum, a restored sugar plantation, and an inflatable water park moored just offshore. Antigua is not generally considered an island with a high risk factor to visitors, although petty crime rates do increase over Carnival, which takes place in July. Visitors are advised not to visit remote beaches after dark, and not to flaunt their wealth or leave valuables visible in a car, house, or unattended on the beach. Number 6. Jamaica. Jamaica has several hotels, large and small. These vary from high-rises to hotels in elegant old-world style, and modern, small hotels. The hotels offer a range of plans with dining and recreation options from all-inclusive to European plans. Many cater to specific niche needs of groups and meetings, families, couples, or sports adventure. There are also villas, apartments, and guest houses. These intimate small-scale properties provide visitors with greater opportunities to create their own vacation. The offerings include a combination of self-catering and/or bed and breakfast facilities and provide viable options for the discerning traveler. All accommodation offers modern conveniences, excellent services, and good value for money. Currently, the island's room stock exceeds 26,000. For transportation in Jamaica, the island is served by many of the world's major airlines, both scheduled and chartered. Connections to Jamaica can be made from major cities in the Caribbean, Canada, United States of America, United Kingdom, and Europe. Approximately two-thirds of total visitors arrive on island by way of air. The vessels of the world's largest cruise line companies all make landfall in Jamaica throughout the year. Cruise passenger terminals are found in Ocho Rios, Montego Bay, Port Antonio, Falmouth, and Kingston. Jamaica continues to receive record cruise calls. Ground transportation is readily available on island. The options range from luxury coaches, limousines, and taxis to rental cars. Transport companies also provide a range of services including customized tours. Attractions and tours in Jamaica. There are numerous recreational opportunities in Jamaica. The island offers excellent facilities for tennis, golf, and equestrian sports. Water sports of all sorts are available. Jamaica abounds in scenic beauty. There are white sand beaches and rivers, large expanses of plains and mountains where flora and fauna provide an attractive kaleidoscope of island life. For those who are inspired by nature, the island offers 252 species of bird. 27 of those are endemic, 200 native species of orchids, 500 species of true ferns, and about 50 species of coral. Jamaica has plantation tours and great houses, dolphin parks and nature reserves, museums, galleries, and soft adventure tours. There are also numerous craft markets and duty-free stores for goods, both bargain and luxury. For dining and entertainment in Jamaica, the island's cuisine has been shaped by people who have made Jamaica their home. Jamaica has many fine restaurants which offer an array of dining styles in Jamaican, American, continental, East Indian, Chinese, and Italian cuisines, among others. The annual Restaurant Week activities encourage locals and visitors alike to sample offerings at special prices in the island's most renowned dining establishments. There is a wide variety of festivals and entertainment events year round, including community and international festivals. Jamaica's native music, reggae, is celebrated in many festivals, including Reggae Sumfest and Reggae Sumsplash, while annual Festival of Arts highlights the island's heritage in music, dance, drama, traditional folk forms, and drama. Community festivals are constantly being added to the island's calendar of events. Several clubs, theaters, and playhouses all add to the many options for nightlife island-wide. Support services. The island is served by two international airports, Norman Manley International in Kingston and the Sangster International in Montego Bay. There is a private jet center in Montego Bay and four aerodromes serving smaller carriers for inter-island travel. Modern port and shipping facilities complement the industry's services to cruise lines and private yachts. Jamaica's road network is one of the most extensive for an island of its size. New highways cut travel time significantly. Highway 2000 links towns in the southern sections of the island, while the North-South Highway incorporates towns of the northern section of the island. Number 5. St. Bart's. When you consider that it's the Caribbean's most exclusive and expensive island, it's not surprising that St. Bart's is one of the safest islands to visit. Pulling in the rich, famous, and well-heeled by ferry or by small prop airplane, this French overseas territory is home to pristine beaches, swanky marinas, designer shops, and luxury spas. In terms of safety, visitors report that very little crime occurs on the island. In fact, many of the locals leave their houses and cars unlocked. The general advice is to exercise common sense and take basic precautions, including being aware of one's surroundings. Avoid walking alone after dark and locking your valuables away in a safe. Number 4. The Virgin Islands. As with St. Bart's, the British and US Virgin Islands are more upscale than other destinations. Hailed as being some of the safest islands in the Caribbean, these regions are known for their breathtaking beaches, turquoise seas, and stunning national parks. Also, world famous boating destinations. Tourists flock to the Virgin Islands from across the globe to make stops between the cruise ports and boating hubs. Penalties for crimes are very severe across the Virgin Islands, which has led to crime rates being very low. Even so, it is advised not to wander around on your own at night, and to guard your valuables or to lock them in a safe. It is also advised to take extra care when driving in the Virgin Islands, as they tend to have steep curvy roads that are often poorly lit at night. The advice is to take care when driving home from a night out or leave the driving up to an experienced local taxi driver. Number 3. Saint Martin. The French and Dutch has been neighbors in the Caribbean for centuries, and both countries welcome foreign visitors to the island. They are able to travel freely between both sides, as you know. The French side, Saint Martin, is quietly sophisticated with colorful cliffside vistas and some of the tastiest French food you'll ever find in the Caribbean. Cross over to the Dutch side, and you'll find the buzzing capital of Philipsburg, which has an abundance of shops and night spots. All around this 37 square mile island, there are white sand beaches which are great for families. There are also plenty of opportunities for sightseeing and day trips. The US State Department has no issues or advisories about traveling to St. Martin or St. Martin, but advises you that you should take precautions against petty crime. Similarly, TripAdvisor states that the island is generally a safe place to visit, but as with any tourist destination, you should always be aware of your surroundings. Number 2. Anguilla. Like many of its neighboring islands, Anguilla has experienced a growth spurt over the past few decades, as evidenced by the rise of swanky hotels and upscale villa resorts. And while this British overseas territory relies on its luxury tourism, it hasn't lost any of its laid-back charm. There are miles of soft white sand beaches all around the coast, as well as innumerable coves that can be reached by boat. You'll find a seemingly endless array of water activities to enjoy, and away from the beach, there are plenty of family-friendly restaurants and low-key night spots. The US Department of State reports that crime rates in Anguilla are some of the lowest in the Caribbean, but you should take standard precautions nevertheless. The UN Office of Drugs and Crime also listed Anguilla as being among the safest Caribbean islands. Number 1. Barbados. Considered one of the safest Caribbean islands for families, Barbados is an independent British Commonwealth nation and welcomes around 1 million visitors each year. The tourism industry is a huge part of the island's economy, and the locals are said to be some of the friendliest in the entire Caribbean. There are dozens of family-friendly beaches along the west coast boasting miles and miles of white powdery sand and pristine turquoise waters. Beyond the beach, the island offers an array of delights including delicious cuisine, a fantastic lineup of activities, and a lush interior dotted with prehistoric gardens. According to the US State Department, Barbados is generally a safe place to travel, but there are certain things to be aware of. It's illegal to wear any kind of camouflage clothing in Barbados, for example, and they take this rule very seriously. Another factor to bear in mind is that some of the island's smaller roads are not marked clearly except for informal signs at road junctions, so take extra care when driving around. So now, what are the worst Caribbean islands to visit? Based on crime rates, some of the least safe Caribbean countries to visit include Puerto Rico, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. As I noted though, most crime in the Caribbean is an internal problem and is linked to inner city areas well away from tourist resorts. In short, if you're heading out from your resort, make sure you do your research and stay away from bad communities. Apart from few isolated incidents in the press, tourists are rarely victims of violent crime while on vacation in the region, and most Caribbean islands are perfectly safe to visit if you follow common sense precautions. Thank you for joining me again, guys. I really do hope you found this video interesting or informative. I hope it's not too long. And remember, you can subscribe to Elite Jamaica by clicking that red subscribe button, and turn on notifications by clicking that blue bell icon so you will always receive my updates. Until then, I am Alex.
I'm on the mission. A mission. Today is the day. Start your ignition. Let's take it away.